The last dating psychological hack behind getting anyone to say yes is my personal favorite. It's being used by people over and over again to sell their electronic devices like crazy. So if you want to steal this dating psychological hack that is being used by Apple, I've positioned as dating psychological hack number 10. So if you'd like to steal it, please stick around till the end of this video. So the first dating psychological hack, behind getting anyone to say yes is social proof. So us as human beings, we've got this thing we call herd mentality. You see, we are afraid to make independent decisions. We want to take decisions that the crowd is taking. You see, for example, let's say there's a restaurant. The first restaurant is empty. The second restaurant is packed. People are chanting songs. People are eating. Which restaurant are you more likely to go into? It's the restaurant that is packed. You see, because that is social proof that shows that there are people who are having an interest into this restaurant. That's an indication. That's a signal that their food that they are selling is good. You see, that is social proof. You see, that's also why Facebook pages, Instagram pages that have got huge following tend to continue to generate more following. Why? It's because they are having more followers, so that gives them social proof. That's what attracts them more like. And the Facebook pages or Instagram pages that have less followers continue to get less following, because they don't have that social proof. You see, yeah. So provide social proof, in order to influence people to say yes. You see, let's say maybe you are selling an ebook, that is teaching people on how to build a massive following on Instagram. So how can you show your prospect, the people you are targeting, how can you use social proof to your own advantage? What you do, you show testimonials, because testimonials, they also act as a social proof, because that's an indication that there are some other people that are already buying your ebook. So use testimonials, you see, that act as a social proof. So what kind of testimonials that you should be gathering? I recommend video testimonial. You see, when somebody has bought your product, I recommend you to track them and ask for a testimonial, and ask for a video testimonial, because a video testimonial, you can multi-purpose it. You see, you can turn it into an audio if you are having a website. You can turn it into a written format if you are running a blog. So a video testimonial, you can multi-purpose it. So social proof works. Us as people, we are attracted to things that other people are already attracted to. You see, that's why those guys who are having multiple girls, those guys who are Casinovas, those guys who are playboys, they continue to attract, they continue to have more girls interested in them. Why? It's because there are other girls that that are attracted to this guy. So that makes them other girls curious. What is it? What is the source that this guy is having? You see, so having more girls attracts you more girls. You see, that acts as a social proof. You see, also another research was done. A man who is married tend to be attractive over the man who is not married, because having a ring, it acts as a social proof that there's a woman that is having an interest on you, so that attracts another girls. So that is social proof. The other thing you can use, you can use to portray social proof, is to use this thing called brand by association. So associate your brand with a big brand. For example, let's say you are selling Nike t-shirts. You see, let's say you are Nike, you are selling Nike t-shirts, and you hire Cristiano Ronaldo as a to endorse, your Nike t-shirts. You are more likely to get more sales, because Cristiano Ronaldo's fans will be like, if this t-shirt is worn by Cristiano Ronaldo, if this t-shirt is liked, is endorsed by Cristiano Ronaldo, that means it's good. What is good for Cristiano Ronaldo, which means it's also good for me. So that acts as a social proof. So the first data psychological hack, you can use to influence anyone to say yes is to provide social proof around your offer that you are selling. Okay, the second data psychological hack behind getting anyone to say yes is reciprocity. You see, us as human beings, we feel obliged, we feel owing people who do good for us. You see, if I give you something, you feel obliged, you feel like you are owing, you feel like you have to return back the favor. Let's make an example. Let's say you are coming from town, you see, you are carrying heavy shopping bags. Then a kid come across you and they assist you to pick up these heavy shopping bags, to place them at your house. You see, to assist you to place this heavy shop to your house. So when you get there in your house, you feel obliged to thank this kid. You give this kid a smile. You feel obliged to give this kid some few coins. You feel obliged to make this kid some food, So when somebody does something good for us, we feel obliged, you see, to return the favor. That is called reciprocity. You see? Yeah. So how can you do it? You see, a lot of marketers are doing it. That's the reason why we are running YouTube channels. You see, the reason we are running YouTube channels is because we want to give you something of value for free in advance. You see, so that you can like us, trust us, so that it can be easy for us to do business in the future, so that it can be easy to buy from us than buying from somebody who is stranger who is selling the similar product that we are selling. You see, you feel obliged that, wow, I have to thank this person. So that's the reason why we on YouTube, we press likes. You see, you press a like, you say, I like this video. So when somebody has created a video that helps you, you feel like you have to thank them. How do you thank them? You press a like, you see. So that's how reciprocity works. A study was done. A study was done in a certain supermarket. You see, some customers that were entering the shop were given sweets as a free gift before they entered the shop, and some were not given the free gifts. And the ones who were given the free gifts of sweets bought more than the ones that were not given free gifts of sweets. So that shows that when you give somebody free value in advance, they feel obliged to return back the favor to you. So that was the second data psychological hack behind making anybody to say yes to you. Then the third data psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes is scarcity. You see, as human beings, we value stuff that is scarce. For example, in a relationship, when you're having 5 girlfriends, the one who tends to be scarce, the one who tends to not be Mrs. Available or Mr. Available, you tend to be attracted to that one, you see, because it's now acting like a mystery. You wonder where they are, what they are doing. So we value something that is scarce, you see. So how can you use scarcity in your offer to influence people to say yes, to influence people to buy your offer? So what you can do, you can say, we have got limited quantities of something. I remember I wanted to buy a book from Amazon that was teaching how to craft a contract. So when I got on the website and I saw 3 copies left, I immediately bought the book because I was afraid of missing out, because I was afraid of not getting the book, because they've got now 3 copies that are left. So that act as a social proof that all the other copies were bought, now only 3 are left. So that shows that other people are interested to this book, which means it must be a good book. So that acts as a social proof. I also work as a DJ. It's my passion, music. I live with music. I breathe music. So when I receive a call from a client, there is booking me for my DJing services. So what I say to them, I say, I'm receiving a lot of bookings, you see. So to secure your date, may you please pay a deposit. Then the client immediately pays the deposit. So what did I do there? I portrayed social proof that other people are hiring me. So which means if other people are hiring me, which means it can be scarce to get me, because I'm already working, I'm getting a lot of. So I portrayed myself as a scarce resource, so that influenced them to pay the deposit immediately. Then I hooked them by that. So that was the third dirty psychological hack, you're behind getting anyone to say yes. The other time I remember I was reading another sales letter that was written by Franken. So he wrote it for this guy called Nestros, who's the author of the book titled The Game, you see. So this sales letter that was written by Franken for Nestros was selling a dating program, you see. So how do they use scarcity to sell this program like crazy? Because this program sold like crazy within 30 minutes. It was live on the website. So how did they use scarcity? Okay, they said that there were only 375 copies that were going to be sold. Then after there will be no other copies that were going to be sold. So a certain contract was signed, because there's guys who are called FTC, who are watching us here online to ensure that consumers are not being taken advantage of, you see. So after 375 copies, no other copies will be sold. So that is scarcity, limited quantities, you see. And then he made up not selling this program over and over, after 375 copies were sold, by making this offer so expensive. So this course was selling, or this program was selling, for $4,000, and there were 375 copies that were sold. So they made 1.5 million out of this dating course. So that's how they used scarcity. Only 375 copies that were allocated to be sold. So there was a limited quantity. So if something is scarce, what happens to the demand? If supply is low, the demand shoots up. So that's why this program was sold for $4,000, because there was scarcity, you see. Yeah, so that's how it works. That's how you surround your offer with scarcity. That's a dirty that was the third dirty psychological hack. You can influence anybody to say yes. Then the fourth one, it's agents. You see, us as human beings, we are procrastinating beings. We don't like making decisions. We like to procrastinate. You see, so what you want to do, you want to put a deadline on your offer. You see, for example, at school, on what period do most students submit the assignment that was assigned to them? On the date that was allocated by the teacher, you see. Yeah, so if a teacher gives you an assignment and say, write this assignment, class, submit it whenever you feel like submitting it, probably no one will submit it. But the moment you introduce a deadline, then students are more likely to submit that assignment. See, so putting a deadline to your offer can influence anybody to say yes, you see, to your offer. So put a deadline. You see, sense of agents. Us as human beings, we are beings that like to procrastinate. So when you're selling something, you can say you have got a limited time offer. You can say this deal will only be available from the 15th of December till the 31st of December. Then after that period, you will no longer have an access to this deal. Then that can influence. That's a dirty psychological hack that can influence somebody to make a decision now, because we've got this thing from the fear of missing out, you see. So you can say you also have got limited quantities, so you can use scarcity, as we have talked about scarcity. You can use scarcity to to cause an agency to your offer. And you can also say to your prospect that I've got this offer, and if you buy this within this period of time, I'm going to give you bonus 1, bonus 2, bonus 3, bonus 4. So if you don't buy within this duration, you will not be able to have an access to these bonuses. You see, you can also say that the first 10 people, 50 people, 100 people to buy this offer are gonna get a discount. You see, the first 50, 150, 100, you see, are gonna get a discount. You see, so that can also cause a sense of agency. So that was the fourth data psychological hack you can use to influence anybody to say yes to your offer. Let's move now to the fifth data psychological hack you can use to influence anybody to say yes to your offer. This one is called authority or credibility. It has been used by a lot of scammers, like the forex guys and like the Bitcoin guys. So what do they do? How do they portray themselves as an authority, to talk about wealth? They flex with their Lamborghinis, they flex with their chains, you see. So showing somehow, some way that you have got money, maybe you can show it with clothes, maybe you can show with your house, maybe you can show with your car. You see, that builds an authority. You see, that gives you an authority to talk about wealth, because you have acquired wealth yourself by having a very expensive car that not everybody can afford, by wearing expensive chains. And a lot of people are sold to that idea. It has been proven and tested, because we have seen the forex wave. You see, a lot of people were scammed through forex. How did those coaches, fake coaches, fake gurus, scammed this guy? They used this dirty psychological hack of authority and credibility by showcasing, by flexing with their expensive cars, their expensive clothing. You see, so showing an expensive car or sitting clothing or maybe a beautiful house can act as a credibility to influence somebody to say yes to your offer. Guys like Ty Lopez, he applied it, but but personally, I don't see Ty Lopez as a scam. Like when I listen to him, you benefit something, you learn a lot from him. I've learned a lot from him. But there's some other controversies, that are happening here on the internet, But he used credibility by showing his Lamborghini, by showing his expensive mansion, and then people were sold to that idea that Ty Lopez is rich. So some other people are buying from him just because he showed that he has got the money. So which means what he teaches can also help these people to make money. You see? Yeah, so that also acts as an authority. Also show awards, your achievement, don't hide them. If you're running a podcast and maybe your podcast was downloaded 1,537,430, show that. If you've won an award for being the best musician for a certain category, don't hide that, show that. If you've won a certain award for being the best copywriter in your district, show that. A study was done, a certain doctor decided to put his degrees, his awards, his masters, his PhDs across the wall in his surgery ward. You see, and then the patients that came became more optimistic, became less depressed. They became optimistic because when they saw these awards that this doctor has acquired, that act as a hope that gave a patient optimism that they will get assistance from their medical problem that they are suffering from. So dealing with a patient who is optimistic is way better than dealing with a patient that is depressed, because depression causes another diseases, you see. So patients that came in and saw these awards, they became so positive, they became so optimistic that this doctor is legit. They became so optimistic that they will get good result, because this doctor has got awards, which means this guy has got an authority to heal the problem that I am having. You see, so show awards. What else you can do? Use stats. Stats are often gathered by mathematicians. Those are the people we believe, those are the people we respect in our society. We respect physicists, scientists, mathematicians, because it's very tough to acquire that degree, you see. So they've got an authority. So when you are using stats on your copy, you are more likely to convert. Use laboratory results. I remember the other time there was a sales letter that was written by Gary Halbert. So this sales letter was selling a colon cleansing medication. So Gary Halbert proved that having the cleanest colon increases the chances for you to live long. He proved that by telling us a story that there's a guy, I've forgotten his name because it's so tough. That guy is Russian. You see, he won the Nobel Prize for proving that death begins in the colon. So when you're having the clean colon, you are more likely to live longer. So that's a laboratory result. An experiment was done, and that guy won the Nobel Prize for proving that death comes from the colon. So having the cleanest colon increases the chances for you to live long. So Gary Halbert used that laboratory result to sell his medication, of which is helping people to clean their colon for living longer. So use laboratory results on your copy that can increase the conversion of your copy. You see, what else? Okay, and then the sixth data psychological hack you can use to influence anybody to say yes is to offer them a risk reversal. See, so when you're selling something to somebody, show to them that they've got zero risk for buying this thing. So companies like ClickFunnels, what do? They offer a free trial, which means you can use ClickFunnels for a period of 14 days free of charge, where you will be test driving whether this product is good for you or it's worth it or not. So you're in advance, you're taking zero risk, you're using this product before you spend any dime. You see, so the prospect feel taking zero risk. You see, the other thing that you can do, you can give free samples, like let's say like Walmart, when they're introducing new sausages in the market, what do? They build a small stand there and they offer people who are passing by free sample of that particular sausage. You see, so a customer is not taking any risk by buying that, because there's nothing buying something new only to find it that you don't like it. You see, so there's a market that doesn't buy because they're afraid of taking risk. You see, so you don't want to lose a sale. So how do you handle that objection? You offer free trials, you offer free samples where your prospect can taste for free in advance before they make a decision of buying in bulk your products. You see, the other thing you can do, you can offer a guarantee. Let's say you are selling an ebook. What you can do, you can say, order this book, read it, finish it. If after finishing it and you feel like it's not worth at least 10 times of what you've paid for, send us an email to example@example.com. We will then happily refund you all what you've paid for the ebook and let you keep the book on your side anyway. So the prospect feels like they're taking zero risk. Yeah, so that's also one of the date psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes to your offer. You see, yeah. And then the seventh date psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes to your offer is your environment. Be picky where you are closing deals. A study was done in a certain shopping center. A handsome guy was planted in this shopping center, and he entered various shops asking for numbers from the ladies. So he entered to a butchery and asked for the ladies' numbers, ladies that were doing some shopping at that butchery, and he got very disappointing results. Then he went to another shop, which was a bakery shop, and he went there and asked for numbers from the ladies who are doing shopping there, and the results were disappointing. But the moment he went to this shop that I'm going to tell you about in a minute, the result doubled. So this guy went to a flower shop, and asked for numbers from the ladies who were there, and the result doubled. They were 13%, and then they doubled and they become 26%. Why? It's because love is associated with flowers, are associated with romance, with love, you see. So ladies were more likely to give out numbers in a flower shop than in a bakery, than in a butchery, you see. Yeah, so your environment where you're closing deals is so important. So when you're closing deal, don't close deals at McDonald's, close them at fancy restaurants, so that when you charge a high ticket offer, when you charge a high ticket price, it corresponds with the environment, you see. Yeah, that was the 7th dating psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes to your offer. Then the 8th dating psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes is liking. Us as human beings, we tend to say yes to people that we like. For example, let's say a stranger, a kid who is a stranger comes and sells you sweets, and also your child comes and also sells you sweets. From whom would you like to buy more of the sweets? From your child, because it's your child, you know him, you like them, so you are more likely to buy it from them over a stranger. So us as human beings, we tend to say yes to people we like. We tend to say no to people we don't like, you see. So how can you make people like you? Offer value to them. Like this YouTube channel, I created this YouTube channel so that you can like me, so that it can be easy. When I pitch you something, you are more likely to say yes because you like me. Why you like me? Because I've offered value to you in advance for free. So liking, you see, yeah, it's very tough to convert cold traffic, you see. So you warm up traffic by giving them value, by free value. Now they are liking you, then they're more likely to say yes and the offer that you are going to be selling to them behind. Okay, then the 9th dating psychological hack you can use to influence anybody to say yes to your offer is commitment or need to be consistent. Us as human beings, when we make public announcements, when we make public commitment, we tend to want to live up to them, because we don't want to appear as fools in front of other people. We don't want to appear as losers in front of other people, you see. So when you want to make a certain achievement, you see, let's say maybe by December I want to have lost X pound of fat. When you make that public, you are more likely to realize it. You are more likely to remain consistent to your statement, because you don't want to appear as a loser in front of other people. So a study was done. A certain doctor was struggling, to influence his patients to come back for appointments. Patient will not come back for appointments. You see what he did, instead of giving a card with the date written when should the patient return for a second appointment for the assessment of their medical problem that they are suffering from, this doctor gave this patient a blank card and told the patient the date that they should come back on. So it was the patient writing the date. So now the patient is the one who's making the public statement, the public commitment that they're going to come on this date, and then show up increased by 20%. You see? Yeah, I remember the other time when I was booking a call with another coach. He's having an online scheduling software. So when you go there, you pick dates where they will be convenient to you. So we are making a public. It's you, who's making that statement that I'm gonna come. So you are more likely to remain consistent to it. You see? Yeah. So that was the 9 dating psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes. And then this bonus one, which is number 10, you see, is my personal favorite. Is used by Apple. to sell their products and services like crazy. And then this dirty psychological hack behind getting anybody to say yes is storytelling. How does Apple use storytelling to sell their products and services like crazy? Okay, the most prominent guy who has been on Apple is Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs has got a story, and his story is rags to riches. His story is so inspirational. He started with zero up to billions and billions of net worth. You see, there was a point he couldn't afford food. He had to walk miles to a certain church to access food that was going to last him for the whole week. He didn't have a place to sleep at. He used to sleep at friends' dorm rooms, but he ended up building one of the best, richest companies in the world, of which is Apple. So people find the story so inspirational, especially to entrepreneurs. When you're an entrepreneur, most of us, we buy Apple product as entrepreneurs because we want to get inspired, as a reminder of Steve Jobs, of how inspirational he was. You see, because when you have got an Apple product in your office that reminds you about Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs has got an inspirational story. So when you're an entrepreneur, when you feel like giving up and you look at the Apple product, you get motivated to keep going, because there was a point where Steve Jobs had nothing. Yeah, so story, you should tell stories, and your story should be a shock, a surprise, or inspirational. Why? Because us as human beings, we like stories, you see. So when your story is an inspirational, so we fall in love with your story, then you are more likely to fall in love with your product, you see. Yeah, for example, like I've made an example like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs' story is so inspirational. So when we fall in love with Steve Jobs' story, we end up falling in love with the product, of which is Apple. Remember the other time I told you about this colon cleansing medication that was promoted by Gary Halbert. Okay, Gary Halbert told us about the story that gave us an aha moment. We fell in love with that story. He told about the secret of living longer, of which is having the cleanest colon, and that gave us an aha moment. So we fell in love with that story, and then he told us about the product that can help us to clean the colon. So when you fall in love with the story, you're more likely to fall in love with the product that is being sold. So when you're telling stories, you want to tell a story that is related to the product that you are selling, a story that you can relate to the product that you are selling, so that when your prospects falls in love with your story, then they are more likely to fall in love with your product. So those were the 10 psychological hacks behind getting anybody to say yes to your offer. If you enjoyed watching this video, or you learned one or two things out of it, please ensure that you press the subscription button as well as the notification bell. By the way,